Welcome to Stories Round the Table with Hudson James and Joni Harms. Real conversations, heartfelt moments, and stories from some of country music's most iconic voices. From award-winning legends to rising stars, every episode brings you closer to the heart of Nashville and the people who shape country music. Season 3 is here and now. It's officially a True Country Plus original, streaming on truecountryplus.com and at storiesroundthetablewithhudsonandjoni.com.
Yeah, long time no talk to or see and everything. I went on a road trip with Olivia and was listening to some pretty darn good music that you and she wrote.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. She says tell you hello, by the way.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, please tell her I said hi too.
Hey. Well, you want to get right into it, Hudson?
Sure. Well, this is pretty special. We don't often get guests that come back onto Stories Around the Table. And today we have Ryan Murphey, someone who appeared, I believe, on episode 3 of our first season, and now he's back. So, Ryan, what's happened to you in the past couple of years?
Oh man, gosh, so much. Still been touring a lot in the summer. I made an instrumental album, which will be out in January, my first guitar album.
So wow, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Took a long time, but I'm really excited about it. I think it started when we did Road Beyond the View, and I really liked the music side of that, so I wanted to explore it some more. And I had done some music for the Wildfire motion picture, and
wow.
I just liked I liked the idea of doing some guitar instrumentals with my friends in Texas. So we worked on that, and
Did you record it in Texas or Nashville?
We all did it remote. So I was here in Nashville, and then my buddy in San Angelo was playing bass, and then my drummer friend was in Dallas.
That still amazes me how you can put all that together and make it so wonderful.
Yeah, just amazing.
Wow. So when did you say that'll be out, Ryan?
In January, we're going to promote it to like jazz and instrumental radio.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So would you say that country folks would probably still really like it too, though, don't you think?
I think they would. It's very southwestern.
Great.
Like Road Beyond the View, and it's cinematic in a way. So there's improvising, but it's not the kind of jazz that anyone is really used to, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, Road Beyond the View would be the closest comparison, which has a very New Mexico kind of open desert.
Yeah, I love it. And no vocals then, just all instrumental. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Very fun. So folks can find that when when it comes out, just probably on through just looking on social media and then all the other regular outlets. Just look up your your music, and then that album should be available.
Yeah, absolutely. We worked on a bunch of videos out there in the Rio Grande Canyon this summer, and so we'll be releasing all those when we release the first song in January, and it'll be digital then.
Great. So did you have a good Thanksgiving? I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was really good.
What did you and your family do?
Well, we were here eating some turkey. Francie made her typical, just the most amazing dinner, and we had one of our best friends over who just moved here from Los Angeles, and so it was really nice to see him. We don't usually have anybody over, but it was great for him to be here.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what Thanksgiving is all about anyway. If you've got somebody who doesn't necessarily have a spot to go, and you say, well, come on over and join our family.
Yeah, it was really sweet for Francie to invite him over, and we kind of thought about all our Thanksgivings, and we haven't had that many people over besides our immediate family, but it was really nice.
Good.
I think.
Now, what about the holidays? Will you catch up with your dad at all during the holidays, or don't?
Oh yeah, we'll see him down there in Fort Worth when we leave, probably around the 20th. Head down to Fort Worth with the kids. They're flying in from DC, and we'll probably see the family in Texoma as well, and they're in Mesquite, Texas. All the families in Texas for us.
Good. Oh, that sounds great, though. And so you're not doing the your dad, is he doing that Christmas show tour that he usually has done in the past this year or not?
Oh yeah, he's doing all that. They're kicking up any time now. I know they're rehearsing this week, but I usually don't get to play it unless I get out of school a little early.
Yeah.
And school keeps creeping back a little later each year. So sometimes we get out like around the 15th, and I'll join them for like a weekend or so. But that hasn't been the case in the last couple of years.
Well, I know as your family gets a little older too, and everything, and I know how much you love to play and how talented you are. What is it that keeps you teaching school? I mean, you're so humble, really, to just do that, and instead of go out and do all the wonderful, exciting things you could do.
Well, I feel like I still get to kind of do it all. I really fell in love with teaching when I was in my mid 30s, and I never had any idea that I would be a teacher. Like, seriously, I used to think about helping my friends when I was back in high school with their homework and stuff, but I never took it that seriously until I started substitute teaching, and it was just a really fun day. And I kept getting asked back, and then I went to get my master's degree. Through all of that, I've been able to keep producing and writing and touring. So it's kind of part time with the music and full time with the teaching.
Yeah.
But it's really grown on me, and I think getting to teach music has really helped expand that love for teaching.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Like Joni had mentioned, you could have really went in any aspect that you wanted to do, but you chose to teach high school kids that may not have other options for things. And so, I really am curious about that because you could have, like I said, went in any direction. And
I felt like I had done so much at that point. I started touring when I was about 18 and continued to tour. And then I had a publishing deal in the late 90s through the early 2000s. And, um, I wanted to continue doing all that as well. But there was just something about helping kids. It was like an immediate experience. Whereas, like, music sometimes takes longer to reach people, and you never know how they're going to react to something. But when you're teaching a kid how to read, sometimes for the first time in my early jobs, or do a better essay or learn how to formulate an idea or an argument like in a more complex class, it was just amazing to get that immediate response, I guess. And it's also a very creative job. Like, you have to come up with things to keep kids interested. And I never realized how creative it would be to be a teacher. You have to constantly change and modify, think about how things went, come back the next day and do it different. So it's an exciting experience, much more so than I ever imagined.
Wow.
That's great. Have you ever had the opportunity with somebody that you taught the music to that's really gone on and done something pretty exciting and big with it?
Yeah, I have actually. Three guys just recently got hired right out of my class. It was just amazing. It was maybe like 4 months after they had graduated. The guitarist, Eddie Hay, the drummer, Gabe Grizzard, and the bass player, Boyd Hamilton, all got hired by Baker Blankenship as he kind of took off virally that summer. And they've been on tour with him almost a year and a half now.
Oh, wow.
Playing just, huge venues and clubs and stadiums. And that was the most amazing thing. Like, seeing them play on CBS Sunday morning, it just, it was such an emotional experience.
Well, I bet.
He had already been playing quite a bit, but when he came to me, he hadn't really played a lot of country. He was like a lot of teenagers. He played like metal and rock and roll and blues. And I kind of sat him down and really taught him how to play like Telecaster, chicken picking, and country style. And he fell in love with that and just kind of took it up. He would stay after school almost every day for like a year straight.
Wow.
He got so good. And then he started playing as soon as he got out of high school at Brown's Diner with all of his friends. And it was just amazing to see that happen. That's definitely the closest thing to like an immediate success I've seen. And then I have other students who have done really well with like their songwriting, and they're still pursuing it. And I know that they'll hit their stride like pretty soon here.
Wow.
Well,
that's quite an inspiring story.
Yeah.
I wish I had a music teacher in high school that was a Grammy-nominated songwriter. Just saying.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have anything like that. In my high school, of course, I was lucky to grow around people like my dad and Joni, and just kind of like that was the friends of the family were all these professional musicians. Um, definitely a unique experience for me. But I guess back at my normal high school, that they didn't have anything like what we have at Nashville School of Arts.
No, and I think that's an interesting thing that you brought up too. Is that's not something that most public schools would have, and you do teach in a public school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's Nashville.
That's true. Yeah, it's there's a school like it in Dallas called Dallas Arts, but they're more classical based. So yeah, our program is pretty unique with guitar and songwriting.
Really, really, really fun. Well, good. I'm gonna have to look those guys up now so I can listen to their music and say, yeah, I learned all those licks from Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, Eddie's really something.
Very fun. Well, I mean, what is on tour? Are you gonna, with that new album you released? Will you guys go out, promote that, play live?
Yeah, I think I'm working on it with my manager some, and he might start booking us to do some of those shows, or we might do some of it with Dad when we're out with him next summer. He's already lining up some shows for next spring and through the summer. We had a big tour this summer. It was one of the longest ones I've been on in a while. It was pretty much the whole summer, 2 months straight. And we played a lot back through the Northeast, which we had never done before. So I felt like I was kind of back in the 90s again, playing one-nighters. It was really something.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Now, do you take the family with you when you do that, or do they just hold down the fort in Nashville?
They pretty much stay here and hold down the fort. Yeah, Francie used to go with me years ago, but she takes her time to travel to see the kids. Usually, if she's going to go on a trip.
Good.
Yeah, we're just empty nesters here now, so
that seems hard to believe.
Definitely likes to see the kids, so that's the only way to do it. Is to head up to Washington D.C.
Wow. What are they doing up there now?
So Fiona's really into to theater. She likes to write, direct, and do backstage and technical work. So she's worked at the Kennedy Center, and she's worked at a lot of local theaters there in D.C. They have a vibrant theater community there.
Oh, you guys got to be so proud of that too.
Yeah, it's amazing. She just got a grant through Maryland, the state of Maryland, to do one of her original plays, like a workshop of her original play.
Wow.
That she wrote. So that's really exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And my other daughter is at school at the University of D.C., which is kind of like their public college, even though D.C. isn't a state, but it would be similar to like a state school.
Okay.
Yeah. She really likes it.
Well, obviously they do. And I mean, and they, how could they not be full of talent being your kids? So.
Yeah. They're so talented.
Now, do you go up to DC often?
I usually go around Easter. It has become like my visiting time. So around that time of year, I'll head up there for a weekend. And then they come here for Christmas, and my wife goes up there several times during the year, usually.
I have one funny story I should not share about DC.
Do it.
So I was driving from North Carolina, going to New York City. And I had to go through I-95 through DC. And I saw a sign that said Pennsylvania Avenue. And I'm like, well, that sounds familiar, but I don't really know what's on it. Yeah, that's the White House. Maybe I should have remembered that, right?
You thought it just took you to Pennsylvania?
I guess so. About a week later, I realized, oh, yeah, okay, got it.
There should be like a more stately name for the street than the White House. It just puts.
That's true, but I will say that was the most confusing city I'd ever tried to drive through in my whole life.
It really is. I agree.
I got
full train system, but yeah, the streets themselves are hard to figure.
I think I got lost there for 4 hours. Now I'm a New Yorker. I can pretty much get around. But I could not get around DC to save my life.
Oh man.
Oh goodness. So tell me a little, or tell mostly our listeners, because I know some of the story. But did you really kind of take a liking to music when you were young, or did your dad say, Ryan, you need to go ahead and play guitar, and then you come out on the road with me more, or how did that all come about? Was he didn't push you, did he? You just kind of fell in love with it.
It definitely didn't push me, but it's funny. I'm looking at a picture here in my room, my music room, and it's me about 4 years old with a plastic guitar on stage with my dad's entire band, and he's decked out in his full cosmic cowboy regalia, and I can tell they're playing a live show, and I've got a microphone for some reason. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but so I don't even remember that. But I'm looking at this picture. So I think he always just liked to bring me up on stage just to kind of have somebody familiar there with him. I don't know.
The crowd eats it up too when they get to see the kids. I know that Olivia and Luke always used to come up, and Olivia could sing, but Luke, he would just be the comedian up there swinging a microphone like a lariat or something like that.
Yeah, and so I figured, well, I better learn how to do something with this microphone and this guitar. And then I started looking up to the guys in the band, and that's how I got it playing, I would say. But I was always there, doing it, wanting to do it. And it wasn't so much him pushing me into it, but just kind of providing me the opportunity to hang out with all the guys. And then later on, I would say he just flat out asked me to play lead guitar, and I didn't feel like I was ready, but I worked on it really hard. This is when I was about 18.
Uh-huh.
And he just kind of gave me the job, and so I just went off and learned every solo that the studio musicians had played, and just tried to do my best to keep up in the early years, and just kind of learned from being on the road in a very non-traditional way. So it's ironic that I teach traditional music now, because I certainly didn't learn that way.
Right. And you play some other instruments now, though, besides guitar too, don't you?
Yeah, pretty serious about the mandolin as my second instrument. And I also love to play the upright bass. That's been my new passion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the last 4 or 5 years. There's always a kid in my jazz combo class that's a good classical bassist, but they haven't played jazz before. So I've learned enough to be able to show them how to walk a bass line.
Oh, yeah.
Really gotten into that. It's so much fun.
I have to give it to both of you for knowing how to play instruments. I can't play anything but a PlayStation or a Game Boy. I've tried to learn guitar, and I've tried to learn different instruments. I even tried the piano once, but there's something about the people who can play the instruments. I'm sure you have to be taught some of it, but it really just comes from you within that allows you people to be able to play those things.
Yeah, it's something about I guess I always had an ear for it. I would imagine what I was playing before I knew how to play, and I felt like I could predict where a song was going to go.
Well, I think for me, when I was trying to learn, it was about coordination. I'm trying to sing. I'm trying to use my fingers on instruments, right? And so for me, all of that coordination and trying to remember your lyrics, it was just too much for me. I just couldn't do it. So for the artists who can, I believe that's not something you can really fully be taught. It's who you are.
Well, how would you handle a student like that? That just like what Hudson just said. Would you say, I bet you'd encourage them and say, you just have to maybe be more of a chart reader rather than play so much by ear, but you would probably still encourage them to do it, would you not, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, every student starts at their own level, and I feel like I did have some natural ability for music, but it still took me so much work, and I still work at it so hard to this day, that I feel like anyone can get better at it if they just put in the time. Uh, so it's I can tell the story of having like a natural ability, but also how much I had to work at that ability to get to the point that I wanted to be. And so, even like a student like Eddie, who's gone on to be such an amazing player, he had a great ear, but he just didn't know a lot about technique. And so I gave him that, and then he used his ear, and it was just amazing to see how much he grew in like 2 years. So I think that's the key, is knowing that someone can always get better regardless of where they start. And they always amaze themselves at how much they can progress.
That's good advice. Okay, so when are you going to start again, Hudson?
Oh, I just asked something. Um, I know we touched on this earlier, and me and you, Ryan, talked about it the other day in a phone call, but I really do find it extremely interesting because, again, you do come with a family name, which I understand there's good and drawbacks to something like that. But with that, you grew up with tons of connections. You really could have went in any direction. And you could have taught at a private school. You could have taught at a college. You could have, or just done music. But like I mentioned the other day in the phone, is I find it extremely incredible that someone with your connections, your talent, Grammy-nominated songwriter, would choose to teach at a public school.
Yeah, I think when I was in graduate school, I had a placement for my student teaching, and it was a really rough school here in Nashville, one of the roughest at the time, a high school called Maplewood High School. And I just kind of saw what the kids were going through, and I had never been around an environment like that. So something in my heart just really woke up the first day I went to that school, and I knew it was going to be tough, and it was tough to work there. I worked there for 9 years, and during those years, I was just 100% into teaching. Music was definitely not my main focus during that time, and I think that's just really what hooked me, was that these kids needed help, and I could help them, and I just wanted to do it. Something inside me just wanted to do that for a while, and then eventually, music kind of pulled me back in. And so I was lucky to get the job at the art school, because now I can kind of do both. But I never thought that would happen to me, because I had never been around kids that experienced those kinds of things, those kinds of hardships. So I guess you just don't know until you've been exposed to that environment how you're going to react.
It's interesting because there's that show Undercover Boss. I've been watching that a lot lately. And it's kind of the same scenario of what you're talking about. A lot of these CEOs will go into their corporation and they don't really understand what their employees go through. They're never around, in many cases, people that have hardships, have problems. And I think until you actually see it face to face, you really don't know. You really don't understand. And you could have went on to do numerous different things where you could be living in a 20,000 square foot mansion, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about the money. It's not about the huge paycheck. It's about what can you do throughout the day that you can go to bed with zero regrets.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly how I felt, when I first started working there. And I love songwriting and producing and all of those things. But I guess I just didn't know that other thing was missing, that I could have this direct connection with people and help them. And like I said, the music always brings me back. But I had never experienced anything in my life like that, where I could do something every day just to help other people. And it really lit a fire in me that hasn't gone away.
Well, and that's where you're going to get blessed with your career. When you have the true intent behind what you do, that's where you're going to end up getting blessed in the end.
Absolutely.
So true.
Yeah, and you have not only just a great feeling when you lay down at night, but so satisfying and rewarding, because you're making a difference in so many people's lives. And not that going out and touring and playing your music for people, you hope that's going to make a difference too, by just making maybe their day a little more joyful, or giving them hope with this crazy world we live in. But to actually be able to share and teach like you're doing, Ryan, I think this takes it to another level yet. because you're still out there sharing your music, but you're also sharing your knowledge of how to play it and how to do that, and then just right in front of your eyes, see these young people um, it probably stay away from drugs and who knows what directions they might go if they didn't have this music program that you're providing for them. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's true. I think growing up, I was really lucky to have these amazing mentors as well. And so I think something woke up in me too when I started teaching at the art school. It reminded me of, hanging out with people like John McEwen from the Dirt Band or Joey Miskelin from Riders in the Sky. And they would take time out of their day, sometimes hours, to show me everything they knew. And so I wanted to do that for somebody. And I reached a point in my life where I was like, I'm kind of where those guys were when I met them. And I have this opportunity to do that, and I should give back. So that was another thing that just felt right, at the time.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, I'm inspired. I want to go pick up the mandolin. It's never too late, is it?
Never too late. Absolutely. Yeah. You can always get better at anything.
Is it all right, guys, if I just start with a harmonica?
Yeah, go for it. Anything. Just got to put in the time. Really, that's all it comes down
to. You both are just such incredible artists, and you both care so much about your fans. And Joni's been in this business for at least a couple years, and you have been around it, Ryan, for your whole life.
Yeah.
And what I find remarkable about both of you is that neither one of you forgot where you came from, how you started, and neither one of you allowed it to get too far ahead. You both stayed grounded, and there's a lot of artists out there that won't do that. You both care so much about other people, your fans, and everybody in the country music business and other genres as well. And in my opinion, that's what makes an artist that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, I think you really have to love it beyond, like Joni said, you can bring so much joy to an audience, and I really do love that. That's absolutely one of the best things. But if you really just love music and you love trying to figure out things on an instrument or try to make a song better to communicate to people, that's something that just kind of never goes away. And I've always been thankful to have that in my life. I got to say, working with Olivia and then seeing how far she's gone from a few years ago, that's a huge thrill to me, to get to help somebody finish a song that meant something to them and then take it to such a grand level like she has done on with the road. That's the kind of thing I never thought would happen to me. But I think if you hang around music long enough, it just surprises you over and over.
Well, and it is a blessing. It really is, to be able to do something you love. Yep, it's hard work, but God gave us the ability to do this and make a living at it. And man, there's too many people out there that go to work as just a grind every day, do the same old thing, and not look forward to what they get to do every day when they get up. And so it's, and Olivia feels that way too. And I thank you so much for all the time you took to spend with her, because I know she learned a lot from you, just like a lot of these other young people. And so, man, I just hope you'll keep doing what you're doing, keep getting inspired by what you see happening from what you do, and because it's people like you that truly make a big difference out there, Ryan.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel so grateful to be able to share the things that were shared with me. I feel like that's important to keep that going.
Indeed.
I still wish I had I was in a lot of music classes in high school, and then I went to college for music and theater. But I wish I would have had a teacher like you when I was in high school. You really care to teach the people and the kids what they need to learn. And I think when I was going to school, our teacher cared. I'm not going to say that they didn't. But it was almost that they were just waiting for the clock out so they could go home. And that's not the impression that I get from you.
Yeah, I had a lot of teachers like that too, but there was one guy that just, I guess, always stuck with me. He was my English teacher, and I ended up teaching English too for many years. And he was so passionate about reading and stories, and he just made those characters come to life. He would take us outside and have us, sit and read Thoreau. And he was just kind of a wild man. He would keep us after school to teach us that we don't have to jump when a bell rings, these really kind of philosophical things. And I really looked up to him. And I knew that he was struggling with his health. I can't even remember like what was going on with him, but he would still show up every day just because he loved it. So that never left me. That certain teachers just have to do it. It's just something that speaks to them, and they want to share that passion for learning.
I think I
didn't know it had it in me until it happened.
I think it's disappointing that a lot of schools, I understand the importance behind sports, but I find it disappointing that they don't put more funding towards the arts and the music, because it's just as important as football or baseball or basketball.
Or more.
Right.
Yeah, agree 100%. I do wish there would have been more arts in my high school in Texas. Absolutely.
I think it's very important on numerous different levels. And, it's just sad that they just don't put enough funding in the departments that they really should.
Yeah, I agree. And we're lucky to have a Nashville School of the Arts. But there, like you had said before, there's not many schools like that. And most schools just have like a traditional band or a choir program. And it would be nice to see like more schools that focus on other instruments like guitar or piano. Because I think learning guitar or piano is something that you can take with you all your life.
Yeah, even if you don't end up using it as a job, you can use it in the church choir as an adult. You can use it in numerous different functionalities in your life, even if it's not a part of a career.
Yeah, and I think that's the value in it for me too. Even though I've done a lot professionally, it's still something that I just love to do when I have free time. So I think it is important, and I do wish that schools would focus on that more. Absolutely.
I mean,
well, you're certainly doing your part. That's for sure. And I think you're doing what you were put on this earth to do. Absolutely, and that's a satisfying feeling too.
Yeah, I kind of came to it a roundabout way, but I agree. It just felt right when it happened.
Well, guys, I hate to end this because it's such a great interview, but our time is about to run out. And Ryan, I do want to thank you so much again for coming back on Stories Around the Table in our third season.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
Well, I want to wish you the happiest of holidays, and then the very best of luck with your new album coming out in January, folks.
Yeah, that's right.
Be watching for that probably later January, you think, Ryan?
Yeah, it's called Rio Grande Reveries. And I think January, probably mid or later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to be getting my copy.
All right, Joni.
And I will as well.
All right.
And we'll make sure that everybody has the links so they can find that before it comes out.
Okay, thank you, Hudson.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope everybody has a great evening.
All right, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us at Stories Round the Table. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share the show with fellow country music fans. Catch every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and on Stories Round the Table with HudsonandJoni.com and TrueCountryPlus.com. New stories, new guests, same warm conversation around the table. We'll see you next time.